Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestlemania and to another edition of Raw out of 10. And it is a big episode of Raw today because we're in Australia once again. And of course we've got all of the fallout from Crown Jewel, where the Vision had a very successful night, didn't they? Bronson Reed taking down Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins getting the victory over Cody Rhodes, and much more. We're all open with a video recapping what happened before Rollins made his way to the ring. With the rest of his group to celebrate their success. The Visionary said this night is about him, but he took a moment to acknowledge the greatness of the group he's assembled. He took time to put each of them over. The Australian crowd gave Reed a great reaction when Seth got to him. The world champion called him the new tribal chief to a mixed response. Rollins said he got done everything on his own, which got a bullshit chant from the fans. He claimed he didn't need anyone, but he's chosen to align with the right men. Depending on how you read into it, this segment might have planted some seeds for a Bron turn, wink wink. But yeah, this was a decent promo, but it was surprising nobody interrupted. That's not a bad thing, but just an observation. As we then moved on to Dom v Penta, but Rusev made it clear to Penta that he'd already had the next title match against whoever wins this one. Dirty Dom didn't have anyone else from Judgment Day with him. As soon as the bell rang, both men were throwing hands. They traded moves until Penta sent Dom out of the ring with a quick Hurricane Rana. He sent Mysterio crashing out onto the announce table with a back body drop as the show went to break. We returned to see Dom take control and send the challenger into the ring post before hitting a suicide dive DDT. He almost sent Penta over the barricade into a small child, but managed to avoid it. They fought for another break, and we came back to see Penta dive off the ring post to take Mysterio down at ringside. A fun match with a standout bit. Seeing Dom stand on his own 2 feet without Judgment Day was a nice change, and Penta's one of those performances he brings out the best. Rusev showed up, but Penta took him out with a dive over the top right, giving Dom a chance to grab one of his belts and the timekeeper's bell hammer. When the ref took the belt, Dom used his hammer from behind. He nailed Penta with a 619 and frog splash to get the win, which got a huge pop. So yeah, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Good stuff. We then got Rhea Ripley versus Kairi Sane after a backstage segment with Asuka slapping Kairi Sane for losing their match at Crown Jewel. The Pirate Princess was the one in action against Ripley. Sane ducked a lock-up and hit a forearm at the back, but Ripley brushed it off. She tried to corner Kairi, but ended up taking a slap to the face. The Eradicator got angry and levelled Sane with a clothesline. Sane got the upper hand for a moment, but Ripley hit her with a knee and turned things around. Sky and Asuka ended up brawling, but Sky was taken out by the combined efforts of Asuka and Sane as we went to a break. A good match hampered by shenanigans. Ripley and Sane had some great encounters in the past, but it fell a little short of what they can do. The second half was much better than the first because both women brought their physicality. Sky prevented Asuka from interfering, again allowing Ripley to hit the Riptide to win. Asuka attacked Sky after match, but Ripley took her down with a kick and then cleared off the announcer's table. Sane saved Asuka from taking the Riptide through the table, and the Empress of Tomorrow hit a DDT on the table to end the segment. Like I say, a bit too interference heavy, but I do think we're leading to an interesting angle, especially with Asuka and Sane in their role in it. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Australia's own Ozilla was then back in action to take on Jimmy Uso. Both men flying solo, but it didn't stay that way. Reed took control as soon as the bell rang, but Jimmy recovered, sending him out of the ring and into the ring post. Jimmy rallied late, but it wasn't enough. Reed got the victory with the Tsunami. A pretty simple match. It wasn't bad, but not anything special. Breaker showed up twice and then speared Jimmy after the match. Jay ran out to make the save for his brother, and yeah, a little bit of talking afterwards as well. Obviously, Jay didn't intend to. So yeah, interesting stuff. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Lyra told Bayley teaming with her against Judgment Day this week was just a one-time thing because she can't depend on Bayley. Valkyria found herself being double-teamed, so Bayley tagged in and helped her turn the tide in her favour. The babyfaces had control more often than the heels in this match, but Judgment Day started building some momentum after Perez hit Bayley with a Hurricane Rana from the top. Lyra had to slap sense into Bayley at one point, which gave her exactly what she needed. She took out both opponents and got the win for her team with a rose plant to Perez. This was a solid match, but it's hard to tell what WWE wants to do with Bayley's character. It doesn't feel like any of this was built with a long-term vision in mind. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And after a quick segment to set up a Perez feud, we got Jay's entrance for the main event. He faced Knight and Punk in a triple threat to see who would fight Rollins next. No alliances, so all 3 men were brawling as soon as the ref called for the bell. The crowd was cheering for all 3, but it felt like Punk has more of a favourite. Knight came close to winning, but then hit some Punk with a BFT, but Uso pulled him out of the ring. When Jay tried to hit a splash, Punk got his knees up to counter and hit the GTS for the win. As Punk was celebrating, Rollins came out of the vision. Breaker took out Jay and Knight with spears as Reed and Rollins helped around the ring. After they took out Punk, Breaker shocked everyone, taking out Rollins with a spear. Heyman looked shocked, but he was even more surprised when Reed Jordan didn't hit Tsunami. Breaker basically forced Heyman to join and suffer the consequences. The show ended with the 3 of them standing tall over Rollins. And yeah, a crazy ending to Raw. Did not see that coming at all, but I think it's a very interesting step to take this early on as well. What will happen with Heyman, and I think the Bronze really let loose could be very interesting. So yeah, I think this was potentially a very hot end to the show. Overall, Raw gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Yeah, very interesting. So, obviously, the main fallout will be the Vision breaking up, which I think is going to be very intriguing for next week, and then obviously how Punk fits into that too. Some interesting views established in the women's division as well, such as Vaquer versus Perez. So yeah, on the whole, I thought it was pretty decent stuff. 6 out of 10 for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.